Hey, this is Alex from Marketer's Delight, and today I'm coming at you from Florida, where there is currently a huge hurricane sitting on top of us. And naturally, being the situation I'm in, all I can think about is image optimization and what we can do to make our images way less so they can load quicker and slow down our websites a lot less. Now, there's some kind of statistic out there that I read in the web development community a little while back that says something like where the average web page loads about 10 megabytes or more. And I can guarantee you that most of that weight comes from just posting a whole ton of unoptimized images, whether they're just like stock background photos or featured post images for articles, whatever it is, over 10 megabytes of data. It's not coming from your text, it's not coming from buttons, things like that. It's mostly coming from images. And a lot of people don't really know that there are simple techniques that you can implement into your workflow that will significantly reduce the file size of your images, which will make downloading them, whether you're over Wi-Fi or some slow cellular network, a lot quicker. And in this video, I want to show you a few of them. So in preparation for a post series that I'm working on called Beast Optimization, which is just a series all about just making your website incredibly fast, pretty much like how fast a Marketer's Delight website is. In preparation for all that, I did a whole bunch of testing around the different pages of marketersdelight.net, and I'm really happy to say that after all the image work and things like that, that the front page of Marketer's Delight, it's the longest landing page that we have, and there's a whole bunch of giant images, screenshots, things like that on the page. It only weighs about 2 megabytes, which is well under what they say the average page weight is. And then I'd say that the average weight of the sub pages around Marketer's Delight, like the features page, showcase, all that, they only came in around under 500 kilobytes on average, and that is just really light and a huge reason why this site loads so quick. And if I hadn't optimized my images, then we'd probably see a couple extra megabytes per page, to be honest. So with all that being said, I want to show you just a couple of quick techniques that you can use to optimize your own images, and you can really implement these tricks into your workflow quite seamlessly. So we're going to get right into it, and I'm going to show you how to make your images load a lot faster on your website. So there's three main points that I want to drive home in image optimization, and the first point would be download an app called Image Optim. It's like Image Optimize. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can get to it. But pretty much right before you're ready to upload an image to your website, you want to run your image through this Image Optim app, and it only takes a few seconds. So what this app does is, I have it here in my dock menu. Pretty much you drag and drop an image over top either the icon or just drag it into the app itself. I think you can do a right click and say optimize image, but regardless, run your image through this and it's going to compress it, it's going to remove some metadata, and you can save a lot of space. So I ran a couple images I already have through it. Didn't really save too much space, but I say every kilobyte counts, and I've seen some images reduce in size up to 50 to 70%. And the beauty of this app is you can run your images through it, and you're not going to sacrifice even a little bit of quality. So they're always going to come out looking the exact same, which is nice because a lot of tools don't really do that. I prefer something like this. Much prefer it over using an optimization plugin that you install in the WordPress, because I'm in the belief that your website is not responsible for optimizing your images or taking care of anything like that. Your images should already be ready to go by the time you're uploading them, and Image Optim will get your images, they will seal the deal and making them ready for displaying on your website. So another cool trick that you can do with Image Optim is if you log into your site via FTP, you can download your WP content /uploads folder, and now this folder has all of your existing images on your website. So the images you've uploaded throughout the years, months, whatever, it's all in that single uploads folder. And if you wanted a quote-unquote quick way to optimize every image on your website that already exists without having to go through every single post, download that WP content /uploads folder, drag the uploads folder that's on your computer into Image Optim, and it's going to start optimizing all your images. Now this can take a while, so you might want to have something else to do while it's doing it. And then once you've optimized all your images, check out just how much how much data was saved, and then you can re-upload that folder, and your website at large will now weigh a lot less. So that's just some cool, fun little thing that you can do on the side if you just want to really go hard on optimizing your images all over your site. So ImageOptim is obviously very powerful. I can't recommend it enough, but a tool like that can only do so much. There are things that we need to do even before we're ready to optimize our images that will ultimately save us the most data out of any trick like this. And this is something that I noticed while working on a client site. Where is this image? So while working on a client site, we have a lot of stock photos that we need to work with, a lot of pretty big, heavy photos like this. I mean, you can see this is one of the images that we use as a background element, that it's pretty big, and photos like this can really, really weigh a lot. And an important part of image optimization is the file type that you save the image as. So if you've saved images before, you've probably noticed that there are different kind of file extensions like GIF, PNG, JPEG. Those are probably the three most common. Those are really the three that I ever work with. And it really makes a big difference which you save your images, which extension you save your images as. So my quick rule of thumb for distinguishing which extension I need: a GIF, I use GIFs the less, and you usually want to consider using a GIF when you have pretty much a solid colored image with very few colors. And I'm not talking things like gradients or shadows, but I'm just talking like pixel art or things like that, where there's just very, very few colors involved. JPEGs are what you will probably use a lot, especially for photography, for images like this. Any photo, definitely want to save that as a JPEG. And then we have PNG, which are the best quality images that you can have, but they're also going to be the heaviest. So if really, I only use PNGs when I can, if I have a transparent image, because that's also the only image file extension that will support transparent images. And I try to use transparent images as little as possible because they are heavy. Usually you can just add a solid background color to a transparent image if you really can, if your design will support that, which is what I recommend that you would do. So as I said before, because this is a photo, we're going to want to save it as a JPEG. Now, what I'm about to show you is available in the Photoshop app. I pay the $20 a month, I think it is, for the Adobe Creative Cloud. So I'm not really sure where we can get the following functionality in another app that I'm about to show you. But if you use any kind of image editing software, hopefully it has some features like this. So if you're in Photoshop, you can follow along. Get your image ready to save, and then we're going to go to File, Export. Resist the temptation to quick export as PNG because that's very quick. We're going to go to the export as, and it's going to load up a menu that has a bunch of settings. And more importantly, it's going to show us how much this image weighs with the default options already filled out. So again, this is a pretty big image once we zoom in all the way, 100%, and it's at 526 kilobytes right now. So 1,000, to put it into perspective, 1,000 kilobytes is 1 megabyte. And if the Marketer's Delight homepage weighs about 2 megabytes, then this image is this single image weighs about a quarter size of that entire page. So imagine if you have just a few images like this on a single page already that weigh 500 kilobytes, you're asking for a huge, huge web page. So again, with that in perspective, we can really see just the importance of doing these things right. So we'll start by going to the file settings. It has it at PNG already. Obviously, we want this as a JPEG. So we're going to go down, and then we can see that by simply just switching to a JPEG, by being conscious of the file type, that we went from 500 kilobytes to only 64. Now that's a huge, huge improvement, and most people would be happy with that win, but if you're a freak like me, you want to keep going and going and going. So the next feature in Photoshop that I really love is the quality feature, and it's 100%. And this is where a lot of people start to get nervous because they don't want to sacrifice quality in their images just to save a couple kilobytes. But my challenge to you is to be aware of how you're using these images. And I know how we're going to use this image. It's going to be a dim kind of background photo behind headline text and a whole bunch of paragraph copy. So it's not going to be at the forefront, which means, and it already doesn't have the best quality, honestly. I mean, if you can see that the house is kind of it's a little pixelated already. it's out of focus already. So because of the nature of this photograph, I am perfectly happy with reducing a little bit of quality. And honestly, when you drop it by about 20% or so, let's go to 80, you're not really going to notice much of a difference anyways. So we'll check out 80, and it's already went down from 60 into the 30s. So super huge improvement, and you really can't notice much of a difference in the quality. Now, if you want to be crazy, you can go a little bit lower. I usually don't feel too good going anything lower than 80. So with this image down to 31.5 kilobytes, I feel really good about this, and we haven't even run it through Image Optim yet. So we'll save this as the JPEG, export it, I should say, call it test image. And now we'll go to our desktop, find test image. So it's at 31 kilobytes right now. We'll drag it over to Image Optim. It'll process it, and now it's gotten us down to, it's rounding up to 30 kilobytes. So it's saved a little bit more now. So we have this big image that went from more than 500 kilobytes all the way down to 30 kilobytes, and it still looks great, and it's ready to go on our website. So that's obviously huge. That's just a significant change, and it hardly took us any time at all. And thanks to these great tools, we hardly had to put any mental energy into it. So those were really the three kinds of methods that I wanted to show you for optimizing images. To quickly recap, 1, always run your images through Image Optim to shave off unneeded metadata, things like that. 2, be conscious of the file types you save your images as. Photos should be JPEGs, transparent images should be PNGs, and then images with very, very, very few colors can be GIFs. And then third trick is, if you can afford to, reduce the quality of your image by just a little bit, because that can really save a lot of space on your images as well. So this video is really a precursor to a larger series called Beast Optimization, where I'm going to outline all of the tricks, I guess you would call them, that I implemented onto the Marketer's Delight website to make it load so very quick. Obviously, images were a really big part of them, so in preparation for you to follow the soon-to-be Beast Optimization, go ahead and run your images through Image Optim and see how you can make your future blog posts weigh a lot less than your current ones now. So if you're interested in the Beast Optimization series, just click or subscribe to the email list that's below this video, and be sure to check out the show notes to get direct links to the tools that I mentioned and any other notes that I took about this video. So hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go see how this hurricane is holding up, and I'll see you for the next episode of MDTV.